So how do we separate from people that we love because we need to for our own well-being, or because, it's causing so much stress to be around those people or that person? This can be very, very painful because the heart just wants everybody to get along and to be together. And so sometimes when there needs to be a separation, when the universe is moving people into different directions, it can cause us to be very confused. And sometimes if one person has been very cruel to us, their behavior, their patterning has led to us feeling very hurt, we can get an eruption of anger, and we can want to use this anger to kind of move away from this person. So what I mean by that is, I hate you, and I'm going to use my hate of you for a reason for me to leave. And I need to hate you, otherwise I won't leave. And yes, you can use that hate as a mechanism to leave, to give you the power to leave, to fuel your leaving. But as you hold on to that hate, you burn and harm yourself as well. So it's like swinging across a ravine, but using like something which is very sharp, holding on to something which is very sharp to swing across the ravine. When you get to the other side, you're bleeding and you're hurt. It's better that we choose a rope rather than something which is spiky. But I've noticed that people do this. Something happens, they get triggered, and then they really want to dislike that person and use the dislike as a reason. And, if it gets you out, it gets you out. But you will notice that the heart space does not like that long term, and it cannot withstand that hate long term. And it will kill you internally to hold on to it long term. And so conscious separation is a safer form of separation. And it doesn't mean that we don't have anger or we need to repress the anger. No, we can allow the anger to be as big as it wants to be and release it, not on the other person, but maybe a punching bag, or through journaling, or just through getting in our car and screaming, or just through venting in some safe way, not directly at the person, and just having that catharsis. And then maybe we need to repeat that and do that rinsing over and over and over again. But then always returning back to a space of love, if possible, and knowing that this person, even though they may have hurt us and said things that we really can't forget, that person isn't just bad, that there are many beautiful things about that person. But we can leave from a loving space. Now, sometimes people are terrified of returning back into that loving space because they feel that they can get manipulated to go back. And so that's where it can get tricky. And you don't need to hope that the person is going to change. You don't need to try and change the person. You can just know there is a certain patterning in this person's behavior that's causing so much stress in me that it's damaging me and my health, and I need space. And I need to remove myself. And my heart may be shut down, but I'm looking forward to it reopening. And you can love somebody from a distance. You can learn to love somebody from a distance. You can love from a distance. You don't need to hate from a distance, but you can love from a distance. You can do metta meditation. I have a metta meditation, a loving kindness meditation on this channel, on my guided calm, which is very helpful. when you think of that person, to notice any negative thoughts that come up. Just allow them to pass and then come back. And then wishing them well. That's not always possible if we're really, really de-stressing, and we don't need to beat ourselves up if we're not able to conjure up genuine, authentic love and compassion. Just know that if we release the anger in a safe way, if we release the disappointment, if we release all our emotions when they come up in the safety of our own space, in our using our own ways of coping, then we will naturally and spontaneously return back to a loving space. And look, she's such a loving space. You just need a little kitten, and all is well. And she, little October, returned back to a loving space after being abandoned. And she was terrified, and she didn't trust me. And she was so, so, so angry. But just with love and time and patience, she eventually turned into a little cuddle bunny. And she's just come out of the hospital. She's been neutered. And she has her little safety collar on so she doesn't lick her wounds. But animals, they can teach us so much. And you know, if your heart space has been hurt, being around animals is very useful, because we like to separate humans and animals. Animals we can forgive. You know, animals can bark, they can growl, that's okay. They can even try and bite us, that's okay, because they're an animal. But if it's a human that tells us to F off and says awful things or even tries to attack us, oh my goodness, they need to go to prison, there's something wrong with them, they're toxic, I never want to see them again, hate, hate, hate. There's no difference. That's a human monkey. And human monkeys, when they get stressed, when they have a lot of stress from everything they've absorbed throughout their lifetime, they start to act out. They start to shout. They start to scream. They start to attack. Just like a dog. You go to the pound and they're growling and they're trying to bite you. But you show them love. You show them respect. You stop judging them and labeling them, and you don't give up on them. And they come round. It's the same with humans. But I said, and I've done another video on labeling, we label so much that humans don't feel safe. We don't label animals, so that's why they can heal us. And some people have animals that are very badly behaved, and they tear up their couches, but they still love them. But we're just not so forgiving of human beings. And so being around animals, knowing any difference in the way you perceive animals and humans can help. Oh, why am I labeling humans and I'm not labeling animals? Why is it okay for a dog to bite somebody, but when somebody shouts at me or acts out, then I hate them? You wouldn't hate the dog. I have some client couple that come to see me, and the lady's very angry with the man, and she's so loving to her dog, which is really interesting. And I said, well, can you just see your husband like your dog? Sometimes he pees in the wrong place. Oh. And so when she did that reframing, she was able to love her husband. I know it's not that simple, but it's just something to consider. Why are we so cruel to humans?